Reddit, what is the most extreme / ridiculous example of strict parenting that you've ever seen? My best childhood friend wasn't allowed to pick out her own clothes, even though she practically had no choice in the matter when it came to shopping. Her crazy controlling father still insisted on laying out her outfit for the next day, or, at the very least, approving her clothing choice. This went on until she was about 17. She got herself a job, shopped in secret, and started sneaking around so she could dress like a mega skank. Her dad once found her sack of dirty clothes, he called them, and attempted to ground her. She ran away, shacked up with an abusive loser, and that's when we stopped hanging out. I hear she's a stripper now. Way to go, daddy-o. In high school, I babysat a kid who was 10 or 11. I was a latchkey kid at 6. But, hey, all types. I showed up like I usually did for new jobs, with the babysitter kit, a duffel bag full of entertainment that went over well with every parent before his. Dragon's Layers, a kid's book about a princess who makes an evil witch see the error of her ways. Vetoed. Swords are bad. A plastic sword. Vetoed. Swords still bad. A Superman cape. Vetoed. Superman is the golden calf or something. Still a little unclear. Star Wars. Vetoed. Evil wizards. Forbidden Bridge, it's a board game. Vetoed. Pagan god idol. Only the duffel bag made it through that door. He was one cool kid, surprisingly. Super religious, but again, takes all kinds. Sweet, smart, super chill. When I was over, all we did was watch VeggieTales and Indiana Jones, the first and third ones only, but it was an easy job and he only tried to convert me a little bit. I never tell people my religion, so he didn't have much to go off of. Eventually I was allowed to babysit him at my place, and despite my best efforts, the only video game I could hook him on was a submarine math game. It was fun, okay. We decided to replace the computer, and I offered his mom the old tower. They didn't have a computer, and he really liked the educational games on it. She said no, because she didn't want him to have access to the internet. I assured her that there was no way to access the internet from the computer. It was so old it predated the internet, and couldn't be connected. She told me he was a smart kid, and would figure out a way, and would not accept the computer. Poor kid was standing there the whole time near tears. Halloween came around, and where I lived it was a babysitter tradition to show up in costume and offer to take the spawn trick or treating. I showed up as his hero, well, cross-dressing hero, Indiana Jones. Hat, whip, jacket, everything. The kid nearly exploded. I told his mom I could take him trick or treating if she wanted. I tried to be quiet, remembering him overhearing and crying about the old computer. She was oblivious, loudly restating my request and turning it down. The kid looked crushed behind her. She assured me that they'd already been out. It was 5. Everyone at the church had put out tables with candy and all the kids had gotten their trick or treating done in only 15 minutes. It was so convenient. So no thank you. She shut the door. Poor kid. I have nothing against being really religious, but religion wasn't even a factor in him not getting a computer or trick or treating. It was just plain ignorance about technology and the reason kids like Halloween. Hint, not convenience. I have a friend whose parents thought she ate too much bread, so banned her from having any, and grounded her for 2 weeks when they caught her sneaking toast. This was when we were 15. My personal experience, all of which continued until I finally moved out. I had to put the phone up that I got at 16, paid for myself, even the bill, up on the counter and turn it off every night at 8 PM. It was also subject to be taken away if I didn't do my chores. Anything under an 85% in a class? Absolutely unacceptable. Instant grounding. And grounding at my house was me sitting on my bed not allowed to touch anything or speak to anyone for days at a time. No allowance / gifts outside of holidays, where I was required to put away 20% and had to get approval for whatever I spent it on. When I finally got a car, they tracked the miles every day down to 1/10 of a mile to make sure I was only going to school and back. not stopping at gas stations, whatever. The few times I did, grounded and had to walk to school, 11 miles. Everything I wanted I've had to pay myself. This means all my band fees, instrument rentals, marching band dues, my entire drum corps tour, I fundraised for it, all state festivals, everything. Rated R movies or PG-13. No way. Not even when I was 17. I went on a drum corps tour against my parents' wishes. I ended up developing bad knee problems as well as what we think was a broken foot. We think it healed funny now. I wasn't able to get it checked out at the time. As much as I complained, I was too young to have knee problems and just over exaggerating. Today, I still have problems. Can't walk more than 2 flights of stairs or walk half a mile at once. Still trying to save up to get everything checked out. No insurance. Music is all I've ever had in life. I was and am very high achieving in that regard as well as my academics. I knew I wanted to go to school for music for years. This didn't stop my parents from grounding me from my instrument, which made it difficult to keep up my skills and set me back quite often. Also didn't stop them from trying to get my university to change my major to nursing. Locked the fridge and pantry. Snacks were forbidden. I ate meals prepared by them, and nothing else. No seconds, no anything. To see friends, I had to ask 3 days in advance, get parents' phone numbers, have their parents meet mine, get a ride to wherever I was going, provide a full itinerary and proof that there would be an adult directly supervising at all times. Also, when my now fiancé and I started dating, we had been best friends for 4 years at that point. I was limited to under 4 hours a day with him, as well as only 3 days a week. And only on approved dates, so no going to his house. It had to be a dinner or movie, etc. I turned to lying a lot on this. To put this in perspective, I have never been in trouble with the law. I graduated high school with honors, have never gotten a C in high school or university, and had never smoked / done drugs / anything. Never gotten in trouble at school, except for stealing something once, when I was bullied into it, had proof and everything, marks and all. At home, every time I got in trouble was for forgetting chores or not doing them the right way. I have severe ADS, so this was difficult for me. These all continued until I moved out, the day after I turned 18. My relationship with my parents? Only time we talk usually is when they need money. They cut me off as soon as I moved in with my boyfriend / now fiancé shortly after I moved out for college. I was in dorms for a while. Several mental disorders made the dorms unbearable. I'm paying for my college education myself, without even a second loan from them. Life is hard, but much better, and I'm much happier, and I'm dealing with my problems that have developed as a result. I was not allowed to have bad guy action figures. Just good guys. I ended up drawing the bad guys on cardboard and having the worst battles ever. My parents were very strict. Examples. When my dad was done eating dinner, you were done eating dinner. But, you had to eat everything on your plate too. He was a quick eater too, so I'm a quick eater. Almost any infraction resulted in a belt whipping. Lie, whipping. Break something, whipping. Grade below a B, whipping. Late for curfew, whipping. Not answering as quickly or as thoroughly as my dad wanted, whipping. We weren't always whipped. I was punched a couple times, once in the stomach, and once in the head. One brother was shot in the back with his BB gun when he and his friend were shooting on our property and a BB ricocheted and accidentally hit his friend. Another brother was beaten several times before he was 6 and then just ignored because he wasn't salvageable. My parents are the main reason it took me so long to have a child of my own. I didn't want to fuck them up. I now know myself well enough, at 40, to realize I won't make all the mistakes my parents did. TL. Doctor, my dad's a dick. I had an Iranian friend in middle school. Pretty hairy. Her parents decided one year that her grades weren't good enough, and as punishment, she wasn't allowed to shave / wax / remove any facial hair. I've never seen such a thick unibrow. I used to have sleepovers at a friend's house, and her father would sit with us to watch our movies and fast forward PG-rated kissing scenes. We were 17. Some friends and I were planning a sleepover. One friend's parents wouldn't let them go because they were worried we'd break out into gay sex orgies. I'm serious.